Do you want this as a double door too, right there, or a single
Here's-
door? I don't know why it's a single, why.
I think we would want a double door.
That's
there,
what I thought
probably.
too.
Yeah.
I just noticed that, I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know why
Just
that's a
south of
single,
Yeah.
but, okay.
On that east of the
Yeah,
alley.
but you don't have a work you draw on
No.
out here. Yeah, when you get a
Where it's gonna
site
fit.
plan,
Yeah.
just I'd like to look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's it.
All right.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming.
Thanks,
Mike.
Mike.
Appreciate it.
Good luck.
Did he say that with tongue in cheek?
Of course.
Big buildings never go smooth.
No, there's always things that pop up.
Oh,
It's-
constantly,
I've
yeah.
done this before and it's not gonna be a pleasant experience. That's why we have a committee that's gonna handle all this.
Do you think a 16-foot door is what search and rescue would rather have
In
than
your
a
pocket.
15?
Somebody in your pocket.
It's a big set,
Yeah,
okay.
there's some stuff in there.
Okay.
Are the search and rescue, are they gonna need a sink or, I know we'll put a drain in that.
Yeah, I think we want water in there too.
And where,
Back wall somewhere. It really doesn't matter. Honestly, probably back wall is best.
yeah, if we can keep it on the inside wall, probably
Yeah.
it
Well,
makes
good
it a lot
know where we've
easier.
got this
so
little-
that's
Yeah,
pretty
and
easy.
I didn't know how to fix that.
Yeah, that's, that whole thing in there is kind of wasted with that little
It is.
U-shaped hall.
It
There's
is.
a lot of lost space there.
The only other thing I was thinking is to move this EMS office over to here, over to like right here.
Yep.
Right there, and then you'd come out of the EMS office like right here. But,
And that could make those off. The EMS office doesn't need to be a 12 by 12.
right,
We just, we're not in there that much.
so,
So if we didn't do that, then a sink could go in here somewhere.
okay.
But not on an outside wall.
Right, right. Never gets cold here, but
Just in case. And probably more than one floor drains in those big bays.
Yeah, we didn't put any floor drains in because I figured that was gonna be off a design of the engineer, so it was
Mm-hmm.
kind of a moot point for us to be drawing them in there.
Right.
So is everybody pretty comfortable with these drawings? Cause we're just, our goal here is to get to the point where we can contact the engineering firm.
As far as the corner, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Search and rescue.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Deb?
Yeah,
Okay, cause the next step would be to contact the engineering firm and,
I'm gonna make a few of these little changes that, I don't know if he's in class tomorrow, but I'll try to meet up with him tomorrow maybe, and then send you a picture
okay,
and,
and we don't have to do that until next week, then I'm sure there's gonna be a lag time between contacting the engineering
yeah.
firm and
okay,
I did read the Prairie Star last week, and they happen to have there's a Missoula company that has and I've shown Keith and Deb this, but it has a 150 by 80 foot building with 20-foot sidewalls, and
I get dibs on the 4x4, on the
I
floor.
don't know, I've got
No, I called it, you weren't here, I called it.
it includes the cement and the insulation for the building, and the cost for that is $686,000 installed and erected. So that was, and I mean, we'll have to go with the engineering firm and go out for bids, but I thought it might give us some sort of
An
idea.
idea.
And it does include a free ATV on this ad. It's already become a bone of contention between search and rescue, sheriff, EMS, and maybe the health department.
I
could
think
use
we're
one
okay.
too. But,
Would work for your shop clinics to
I'm
just
not
drive
really
around.
sure we want it.
we might be able to trade that in on one or two more doors.
16-foot door.
Yeah.
14-foot door, yeah. But anyway, I think that's the next step, if everybody's fairly comfortable with these ideas, and we won't need to do that until next week, Deb, so that'll give you time to get
Okay.
the last minute changes.
Okay,
And I'm sure, having dealt with engineers before, that there will be some sort of hiccups on our plan.
yeah,
But when we do that, we'll meet with this same meeting style and have the engineer come and see what their thoughts are.
Tear our plans apart.
Exactly.
Any other comments?
So I don't have it with me because I was not in my office when I got the call to come here at 1. But off the top of my head, it was, I think about maybe just over $13,000 for your building permits for $2 million project.
Okay.
And then for $1.5 million project, it was $1,500 less.
You said 13,000?
Yeah, about 13,000.
Okay.
It might have been just over for a $2 million project. And then closer to 11 if it was 1.5 million.
We'll take worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Use
and
that
we won't,
number.
we won't hold you to that exact number, Tom, but thanks
Yeah.
for finding that out.
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
That's sitting on my desk.
One hookup each for the water and sewer. They thought.
That's what he
Might
thought,
say.
yeah. So if it's just one hookup, what is it, like $660 a year for sewer? I think for one hookup.
Okay.
I do have those figures that you guys asked me to get
Okay.
You don't have them?
to. I have them.
You do have them?
I do have them. I do.
Sure.
Please.
Okay. So they asked me to kind of get what was spent down in Fairfield over the years as far as money through my budget to fix up the Fairfield station. So our original loan in 2011 was 75,000. So everybody that I asked was wrong. We were all within 5,000. So 75,000, but with all the interest, we paid 81,715 and 83 cents for that intercap loan that we took out. We had a septic change where we split off of a communal septic with the city. It used to be a trailer park where that building sits, and to make that our own cost us a little over $5,000, $5,020.33. And then we had the floor drains put into the ambulance bay because it was leaking water off the truck, and that cost us $8,000. And then future plans, we talked about adding a little storage room on the back and putting a fence on the east and the south side of that building. There was, up until a couple months ago, there was a wooden fence, but they had to do some maintenance on the neighbor's water, and so they tore that fence down. So we'd like to put a fence back up and separate us, and then add one to the south side. So we're probably looking at $40,000 for those things, and that's kind of on the high end, but just in a rough guesstimate, talking to some other folks.
Yeah, and we just asked Deb to get that because there have been some concerns from people about the hospital district funds being used and how they're used, so we thought that would be some good information to share with people. So I guess we get your changes and then we'll contact Staley and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no other comments or concerns. We can entertain an adjournment.
Second?
Good. Thanks, everybody, for
Are we gonna schedule, sorry, are we gonna schedule another meeting or wait till we can get the engineer here?
I think we'll wait till we probably hear some, have a little more info.
We'll get the deals from Deb and then we'll contact the engineer and when we, cause I think he should come up and sit down with
Well, I
us.
think so too, yeah.
And I don't think it'll be Kathy, I think it'll be that guy from Helena, I think, so.
Schedule it when he can come
Yeah,
up.
we'll schedule it around his
Okay.
ability to come up.
For your bathroom, you just don't need a toilet and a sink?
Yeah, I
For
don't
the
think we
most
need a
part.
urinal or anything like that.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks for coming, Tom.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome. And just real quick, if I remember, you said you were gonna have like angled parking potentially up here,
Yep,
Yeah,
that's my
we
hope,
can
that we'll have
outside.
enough room to do that.
and then you're gonna expand this empty spot for parking.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep, so it should leave the whole area south of the annex should be open for overflow parking,
Mhm.
which won't be awesome, but when we need it, we'll need it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we don't have any disasters.
Just,
I'm hoping so too.
Or any more pandemics.
yeah.
Keep our fingers crossed.
Well, thanks again for everybody
Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
coming and participating.